Hey
notable
everyone,
in
my name is
election
Nina,
results.
and I
Michigan just
currently live in
polls
Denver,
just
Colorado.
closed.
I voted today because I think, quite simply, that the future of our country literally depends on it. As someone who has the intention and the hope to one day soon start my own family, I feel like my vote today feels more important than ever. I'm voting for secure borders, less war, a better economy, and just generally a better future for my family and for our country.
My name's George from the great state of Florida, and I like Kamala. I think she's smart, well accomplished, great resume, infectious laugh and smile. But I still don't think that she's the best candidate to run this country. We're in serious times and we have serious problems, and we have to get them done. All the hyperbole in the world doesn't make everything true, period. So, based on that, I voted for Trump.
Hello, my name is Mary. I'm a proud Trump supporter from Florida, and I think this election is the biggest, most important of our lives with everything at stake. Some of the biggest issues are the economy, border control, and abortion, which Democrats want to legalize to late-term abortion, which essentially equates to infanticide. Other issues include men playing in women's sports, as well as transgender operations paid for by my tax dollars. So Trump represents a real threat to the swamp, threatening to swallow our country, and only he can bring us back to the safe grounding and values this country was founded on.
Hey guys, Jason checking in here from Colorado. Just wanted to tell you real quick why I am voting for Donald Trump in this election. Some of the issues that myself and my family care about most are going to include the open border and illegal immigration, the increases in crime, men invading women's spaces and sports, the weaponization of the Department of Justice, the First and Second Amendment and the threats against the Constitution by the Democratic Party. And yeah, these are going to be the top issues that me and my family are voting for. I know that Donald Trump is going to deliver on all of these things. He has a strong stance across the board for these things. And that's what I care about most. So that's what I'm going to be voting for. Thanks.
Good morning. I voted in Indianapolis, Indiana, which is a primarily Democratic city and county, and my ballot read Harris, Trump, and the other candidates. My husband voted in a Republican county and town, and his ballot read Trump, Harris, the other candidates. So I wonder if our ballots are biased.
So, that last speaker was my younger sister. I love her and I'm so proud of her. And she brought up a very good point, Jennifer, that, she said that she votes in one county, her husband votes in a different county, and that they had different candidates at the top of their ballot. And those things are normally determined by state law, is where things are in the ballot. In Florida, we have certain laws that they're very specific. Back, years ago, supervisor of elections, not like Ron Turner, but we had some crazy. We had some folks who wouldn't necessarily cheat, but they would operate within the law, but kind of help influence. So, like for instance, if there was a Republican challenger who was doing well in Broward County, that person would go be at the bottom of the page before you flip the page. So people would vote one, maybe just the race at the top. And then that same race in a Democrat precinct would be at the top of the next page. So you have more undervotes in the Republican district than the Democrat district. So there are things like that happen. Now, we've solved those problems in Florida. It is against the law for a supervisor of elections to play games within the law, that you have to treat every candidate fairly on the ballot if you're a supervisor of elections. But that's not true in every state. The one thing that is true here in Florida is that we list our candidates based on the party of the governor. That's how we decide. We don't go so that people aren't confused by going by, alphabetical for, and race by race. If the governor's Republican, and Democrats put this in place long before Republicans took control. But if the governor is Republican, that's the first name you're going to see in the ballot on every single race. Every single race, you're going to see that Republican candidate listed first. And
which is not a crazy idea. It's almost like, hey, who gets home field advantage in Game 7, right? So you got to pick something.
Right.
And so if you won the governorship, that's the highest office in the state, then your party gets to go on top of the ballot. I think it
sort of makes sense,
yeah.
right? In California, it should be the Democrat. They have the Democrat governor, so they should have, like you said, the advantage. It's not the fair. I don't want to say it's the fairest way, but it's as fair as you're going to get.
You got to pick.
It's as fair as you're getting. Jennifer, weigh in here. What are your thoughts?
I'll be honest with you, I was not paying attention because I am working with our producers behind stage.
Okay.
But I do want to let you know that our next guest is here.
All right. Garrett, I'm going to butcher another name. Belich from the Garrett Belich Show. Belich. Garrett, are you there?
Close to Belich. Close enough.
Belich.
How are
I thought
you,
it was
team?
Belich,
Can you guys
and
hear me okay?
Listen, Garrett, I'm so sorry. I have an irrational fear of calling people by their wrong name, so I do it all the time, and I'm so embarrassed by doing that. But it's good to see you again. How have you been?
No problem. Doing great here in D.C. I've been here since about yesterday. The energy is picking up rapidly. I am here outside on the north end of the White House. As you can see, a pro-Palestinian protest is just wrapping up here.
I was going to say, somebody just ran behind you.
Was hitting a fever pitch. There is a pro-Christian protest going inside of the fence behind me, but outside, as you can see here, is pro-Palestinian protest. It is wrapping up here, and as you can see, the media presence here is outrageous. Now, at any point, let me know, guys, if I have an issue with connection. As you can see here, the support is hitting a fever pitch. I'm going to walk in here and show you the pro-Christian rally as we have Trump Spider-Man too, folks. We have Trump Spider-Man right here. He's been out here for the last couple hours. As I saw him on the south lawn, he is now over here on the north side. As there is Trump Spider-Man. He has been a focal point of the press presence here. Trump Spider-Man, how are you tonight? Trump 2024.
Well, there we have Spider-Man's for Trump.
Thank you.
We have the endorsement from Marvel.
You got a couple folks hitting a wheelie, and I'm going to come in here into Lafayette Square to show you the difference in energy. It's a lot more peaceful here with the U.S. Park Police. But as you can tell in here in Lafayette Square, the energy is a lot more peaceful compared to going on outside. And this is Washington, D.C., folks.
That is, I don't know. When you said you were going to be on the ground in D.C., I was like, well, okay, well, what's going on in the ground? Who knew that was kind of the place to be?
It's absolutely crazy, Jamie. And like I said, between 6:30 and 8:30, it was getting a little intense.
Oops.
Things have calmed down a little bit since the pro-Palestinian protest has kind of broken up. Things have gone a little calmer. Now, I have been here since yesterday morning around 7 a.m., and I will be honest, I did the National Mall tour. I've never been to D.C., so I did the whole tour of D.C., and things were normal. It was a typical tourist environment. And as I was walking the Foggy Bottom neighborhood of D.C., as here's a gentleman here with the Palestinian flag, as I was walking to the Foggy Bottom neighborhood of D.C. yesterday around 2 p.m., immediately the plywood, the drills are going, and the wood was going up. Businesses are boarded up. But again, the energy out here is not crazy. It's not too intense right now. I know it's still early. So this is currently what is going on the ground in Washington, D.C. on the north side of the White House.
Wow. That is incredible. So let me just ask you a question. You're seeing these protests in our nation's capital on election night. Do you feel that the mood on either side or both sides is patriotic?
I would not say patriotic. I'd say the mood is more nervous, anxious. I was in a bar about a block away here earlier, and they have CNN on. And obviously, I'm in a very liberal area. There's a lot of panic going on in these areas. The mood, I want to say it's a little bit somber almost. There's a lot of concern here from a lot of the liberal supporters that Trump will take the election here in 2024.
Yeah, Garrett, this is Chad Turnbull. I used to live in Foggy Bottom, so you're probably walking around my old neighborhood. But yeah, I mean, Republicans are a rare sight in Washington, D.C., so be careful out there. It's if it's nervous or they're somber, that's a good thing for a Republican.
Yes, absolutely. And absolutely keeping my head on a swivel here. And I did not really know what to expect. I was expecting it to be a lot crazier now when election decisions are being made. I think we could see things pick up a little bit here. It might get a little unsafe in certain areas in terms of protests and riots.
Yeah, it's I'm kind of looking here at the I like to look at the Google map and you're on the New York Times right now, but the Google map kind of starts trending. Virginia is too close to call. New Hampshire's too close to call. The media is making a big deal out of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin being too close to call. But there's only 24% of the vote in Pennsylvania, 12 in Michigan, and 7 in Wisconsin. Virginia is too close to call, and there's 58% of the vote in. You look at New Hampshire, there's 40% of the vote in, too close to call. So they're looking at some states, and you have to assume that those states are states that have voted early, and now we're trying to, we're getting some election day voters coming in. And so I would think that the Harris camp has to be pretty nervous looking at these numbers, just from a top line level for sure.
It's all red.
Yeah.
If it's not red, it's a little bit pink. So it's like, you like your steak well or medium rare. Right now, we have a really nice steak on the board.
Yeah. So, I mean, even, what is that? Oh, the New York Times has 1% reporting Maine kind of pink, but I don't know that anybody expects that to stay. But New Hampshire and Virginia certainly in 40 and almost 60% of the vote in trending towards Trump seems to be a good sign.
Exactly. That's what I'm seeing here. Once again, from the energy here, it really seems like Trump is on his way to the Oval Office. And like I said, the energy, it's nervous, it's anxious. There's a lot of pro-Palestinian energy here, which is understandable with the protests that just happened. But I hate to say it, I hate to call it early, you guys, but it really seems like Trump is trending in the right direction here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if, of course, if some of those other states turn red, it gives them a little bit of wiggle room up there in those Rust Belt states. So, Jennifer, do you have any questions for Garrett? Like, what's your final word, Garrett?
Sorry, can you say that again?
I was like, what's your final word? What's your
My final word is it's just been absolutely crazy here the past couple hours, and time will tell. We're really going to be able to see where things are heading in the next couple hours. So far, I was expecting a lot of vandalism, a lot of looting, and of course not yet because there's no official decision that's been made. But that is where my mind is right now, is when will this peaceful protest potentially turn ugly, is where my mind is right now. So we will see what happens.
Yeah, get somewhere safe.
Make sure you're safe when it does, my friend. And hey, I look forward to talking with you soon. This has been a great report. What a bundle of energy this brought to the show. I mean, that was great.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jamie, Jennifer, Chad. I really appreciate your time today. Have a great night.
Thank you for carving out some time for us. All right, that was great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care.
Yeah, man.
DC is a fun city to live in. I mean, we are a dying breed as Republicans, but it's a nice city, or a district. But
that was kind of crazy. That was unexpected. Like I don't know what I was expecting. He's like, I'm going to be on the ground in DC, and I thought, okay, well, let's see what that is. And
he's like a one man,
and right from the beginning, the guy streaks across with not streaks, but runs across behind him with the Palestinian flag. That was pretty crazy.
Absolutely.
That would be nerve-wracking.
So yeah, I'll tell you our next guest and our final guest for the evening, if you can believe we've made it through the evening, or we're getting close, are Daveed and Miguel. This is the very first podcast I did, was my two favorite Americans by choice. I think I was, Jennifer, you may have been there watching from the hotel room in Milwaukee when I first spoke to Daveed and Miguel. And what a great conversation we had, two great guys. And are you with us now?
We are here, my friend.
Yeah.
How are you, Jamie?
There you are. There you are.
Good to see you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Look at you guys.
Good to see
you
you, my
look
man.
great.
Oh my God, what a pleasure it is to see you, Jamie.
It looks like you live in California and everything's perfect out there.
Oh my God! I'll tell you better. Here in Portland, the Home Depot ran out of plywood. There's no more plywood in Portland because everybody's boarded up.
That is crazy.
That's so sad.
I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I'm just kidding you. I don't know. There are rumors, but you cannot believe all the rumors,
Well, we just went through 3 hurricanes here, so we're here in Sarasota, Florida. So we're very plywood conscious here.
Yeah, no plywood jokes. No plywood jokes.
So listen, you guys, I've been hearing the podcast, and you guys are feeling really good. Like this is a good time of the evening. In the evening.
Well,
I feel like we still have a good ways to go, but I always say you'd rather be up than down. And
absolutely,
it certainly looks
Correct.
like places. Georgia's 77% in. The last thing I saw was Trump was up 3 points there. North Carolina's 56, but and he's up 3 points in North Carolina. Too early to call, but certainly trending in the right way. Pennsylvania is still, but that's way lower. It's 20. Like, what's the percentage? Move just a little bit to the left. Yeah, 26% in. Harris is doing very well in Pennsylvania, but with 26% of the vote in. So way too early. When these early votes come in and they're all Democrats who are voting early, and Republicans like to vote on election day, what we saw in North Carolina, Georgia, is just as more and more votes came in, they trend more towards Trump. So we'll see if that holds in Pennsylvania as well. But what are you guys seeing and hearing out in the world?
Well,
David, you want to
go
start?
here real quick. Yes, absolutely. Well, number one, I love that we have the same sources. I mean, because that's a big problem. Like we're sharing the same sources. And on that map that you just showed, there is no reason to panic for the Harris campaign yet. We still have Pennsylvania hasn't been called, Michigan, Wisconsin, and even Georgia. I mean, to be honest, Miguel and I, we make a prediction early in the week, and we're expecting to without Michigan, even without Michigan or Georgia, we think there is a path to 270.
I would add
Miguel?
this actually. The thing is the miracle that we got Georgia last time is insane. I mean, Georgia hasn't gone Democratic since Jimmy Carter. The idea this dream that we might get it again, I think is ridiculous, and it's a fool's errand for the Democrats. But anyways, the fact that we were even competitive, but we'll see the numbers. What I'm actually seeing that's interesting, Jamie, is that there's actually split tickets happening right now. I see the split tickets happening in Ohio, so the numbers that are coming in for the presidential race as compared to the Senate are quite different. And then also, obviously, in North Carolina, we're seeing the governor race completely different numbers to the presidential, which historically speaking of modernity, like people don't split tickets, but people are splitting tickets, which is kind of interesting.
You had a better candidate.
Well, in North Carolina, that's not necessarily the case. North Carolinians are Donald Trump won in 2016, and the Democrat won governor in 2020. He won North Carolina, and the Democrat won governor. The Republican candidate completely imploded in North Carolina, and there's no U.S. Senate race on the ballot. I think you all know from your show that you asked me what was a concern for Republicans, and I think I shared on your show that Brown would be so strong in Ohio that was possibly an opportunity for Harris because the tail would wag the dog. I think you may see that in Pennsylvania with the U.S. Senate race being a little bit of a firewall for Harris there if she goes on to win that. Jones there has been in Ohio. I think this is his fourth term, so he's been on the ballot 3 times. When you run 3 times in a state, you really kind of have to mess up pretty bad. I don't think he had a scandal. I think that he ran a good race. He certainly overwhelmed his opponent with money, and and I think if you're a Republican, you look at that race. The last thing I saw, it was like 4 points. Just click over Ohio and see if we can go to the. Can you look at the Senate race from there?
I think you can.
But anyway, so it's been a little while since I saw the Senate race there in Ohio, and it was.
Well, listen, the best news of the night for sure for the Republicans was coming in the Senate. I think there is no chance right now.
Yes, I think the Senate is gone for the Democrats.
I mean, this
100%.
is absolutely good. It's also very interesting because whoever wins tonight, I think it's going to be the first, I don't know, in decades, we haven't had somebody winning that they don't get the 3 chambers. We're going to have the first president in decades who comes with a split Congress, right? So that's going to be quite interesting.
Potentially, if the Democrats win
but
the House,
you guys are looking at Arizona.
Well, right now it's looking good for the Democrats. You're right, but I'm counting those eggs.
I like that being confident. Look at him, all confident. But Jamie, I wanted to actually say when you came on our podcast, I think you sort of told the game so early, which was so interesting. You were concerned at the time that Trump had a high floor but a low ceiling, and basically the game that we're seeing right now on the ground is whether Kamala can beat that, can match that ceiling, because that's the concern: is did Trump grow his base, or can Kamala match and beat that? And you were very, very astute to kind of see that early on.
Yeah, we could be seeing that. We could be seeing that, and what we certainly saw here in Florida, which is one of the first states to report their results fully, is that rural voters certainly went back home to Trump, where they had, I don't want to say they left him in 2020, but Biden definitely closed the margin in rural areas. And certainly in Florida tonight, the rural voters came back home, and I haven't really had a chance. Obviously, I've been on the podcast, so I haven't had a chance to really say, okay, did he do better than his 2016 vote among rural voters? You have to remember, Florida was one of the places where Trump went from 1% in 2016 to 3.5% in 2020. So it's one of the few places where he grew his support in the country. And but rural voters specifically, kind of, we saw lower margins of victory there. That seems.
I mean, I'll just say that Florida is kind of a home game for Trump nowadays, but it's okay.
Well, listen, he lives there. I mean,
the truth of the matter, guys, is good government makes that.
He loves New York like nobody, but he has his new home is Florida, so he's on his new home.
Yeah,
what I find fascinating is how on this election so much happens during this campaign.
Yes,
Trump's numbers never change. I mean, Biden the Democrat numbers went up, down, and back to where they were. But this is essentially the same race that we have. Right now, we have the same numbers and the same polls that we have before pre-debate, first debate. Basically, Trump stays stable. Democrats, they go totally depressed. They go pretty excited, and then it just normalize. And it's just with as much as it happens in this election, it's incredible how little the numbers change along the way.
Yeah, so we're looking at the map here, and New Hampshire's too close to call. Nobody really was calling that. Virginia too close to call. Nobody was really expecting that. So Trump is overperforming certainly in some areas, and so my question to you guys is, as Harris supporters, what's the, and I think you're right. I think that even if you go back to the Biden polling. Trump stayed the same. I think we're seeing the same race whether Biden or Harris is on the ballot. Are you guys 100%. Sitting here comfortably saying you feel better tonight with Harris on the ballot than Joe Biden?
I mean, it was over with Biden.
I mean, my take was it was going to be more fun to do this campaign with Kamala because it was somewhat competitive. But after the second debate, I think this would have been blown out with Biden on the ticket. So no, I feel the same way that we felt before the debate.
So Miguel and David, I mean, you guys did have a.
I mean, I had a question for you guys. Do you guys think that Trump will get the popular vote this time, or is that still off the table?
So if Trump wins the popular vote, it's over. He's not going to. He's not. In 2000, there was a whole theory with the George W. Bush campaign that we were going to win the popular vote and lose the Electoral College the way Hillary Clinton did in 2016. And so it's certainly not, I know the theory out there is that he's won so big in Florida and Texas that he could somehow win the popular vote and lose the Electoral College. But I think certainly if Trump wins the popular vote, he wins it all.
I mean, I think from where we're standing, I think our analysis is probably the same as you guys. I mean, obviously the numbers are coming in and trickling in, but it's right now, it's all about Pennsylvania. And I think you guys mentioned this is having not chosen Shapiro, is that Kamala's, biggest, missed opportunity or actually a forced error, So we'll see what that is, And then the other one that's happening is this very strange thing that's happening in Michigan with the MAGA Muslim coalition, MAGA sort of Muslim militia coalition, which is very, very strange. So we'll see. I mean, Michigan.
We have MAGA supporters and Muslims voting for the same party, which is
insane. It's a very strange bedfellow.
A year ago, I would have never believed that.
Well, let me ask you one more question, and I'll see if Chad and Jennifer have any questions before we let you guys go, because we're going to close the show up. And but did you all? I mean, it seemed like Harris pivoted for the last 72 hours to this. She started with excitement and joy. She ended with unification, and everything in between was she called Republicans Hitler. She had Surrogates call us stupid and weak and every other name in the book. And, so did you all agree? Number one, did you agree with her changing her tactic at the very end to include this kind of positive message of unification? Do you think she should have stayed on kicking the heck out of Trump's shins? Or and then Trump, of course, just stuck with she's unqualified. So I think there's two really kind of different case studies here for ending a campaign, and just wanted to get your view on it.
Well, I actually had a take on that. Let me give you mine, and I'm sure Miguel has a slightly different one. The way I see it is that Kamala, towards the end, she just tried to team up with Liz Cheney and all the Trump cabinet members who start supporting her.
They're sort of never Trumpers.
Yeah, they've never. No, so you basically, in the last 3 weeks and last month, you couldn't find Kamala within 2,000 miles of AOC or Bernie Sanders. She just went on for those disgruntled, what she perceived to be the disgruntled
Republicans.
Republicans who wouldn't vote for Trump. So that's what I saw. So but I know what you mean. She started with all the joy and she became pretty striding. I don't.
So you think she turned her back on the base
that way, the way you see it, Jamie? But I just see it like she really moving to the center, and it was very interesting for me because that means that she promised a coalition. If she were to win, she owes so much to this. I don't even know how to call them centrist Republicans. We're talking about Liz Cheney, of all people, right? But all these old school Republicans,
Yes.
that somehow I feel like if she were to govern, she will owe more to the Republican centrist than she will owe to the left. Because as now, one member of the squad actually refused to endorse her in Michigan, which could be a big problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Miguel?
Yeah,
That's
no,
a great insight.
I agree with you. I mean, I would say that the Trump campaign closed with a very dark message of their vision of what at least is happening in America. But
revenge? The revenge?
Well, I mean, we I don't think we have time to talk about it. We'll have Jamie come back and maybe talk about that one day.
I'd love to.
But yeah, no, I mean, I think she just forwarded the argument. I think that Democrats win sometimes when they put across a positive vision. I didn't hear that from the Republican side, but I think that's maybe what she was doing.
Jamie, I love that you do this because I'm sure
Yes.
I love that, basically we live in different news silos and we see different things.
Yes.
And this is, we need to cross talk a little bit sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and that was one of the things I appreciated about being on your podcast and having different views is that you were welcoming and, kind of let me run. You gave me the rope, so to speak. Hopefully, I didn't hang myself, and certainly you guys.
You guys
did not
Miguel
tonight.
talks about you every week, boy.
I do, Jamie. We really enjoyed the episode with you.
I thought we had a good time. I look forward to the next time. I think we should do this a lot more. And if you stay on
absolutely.
and listen, we're gonna me and Jennifer are gonna have a kind of an exciting announcement coming up, which is why we probably need to run. Do you guys have any questions for Daveed or Miguel?
I do not.
Nope.
I thought this was a great.
Thank you so much for having us, guys. Chad and Jennifer and Jamie. What a pleasure it is to have joined you tonight. And I won't say best of luck. I hope we win, but have a good time at it.
I always say, and I'll leave you with this. Regardless of who wins, we collectively, and I think this conversation proves it. We collectively are stronger than any one person, including if that person's president of the United States. And I mean that because
100%.
if you and I and we can all agree on something, or the president, whether it's Trump or Harris, gets too far off the reservation, so to speak, and we decide to collectively pull them back, they have no choice but to come, because that's what it is to be an American. And you two are my favorite Americans by choice.
Thank you, man. We appreciate
Thank you, Jamie.
that.
You guys have a great night. Take
All
care.
right, thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Muchas gracias.
We got luck tonight.
Adeu.
And you guys are part of the team.
Take care, guys.
We love it. We love it.